Welcome back to Real Repairs for Real Customers. For quite some time now, I've been wanting to interview some other proficient techs in the business. And as it was, Aranita and I found ourselves in Florida for the Mobile Tech Expo. And I thought this would be a good place to meet some technicians and to get our first interview for a segment that we wanted to call
Meet the community.
First of all, down on the show floor, I met up with Brandon with Get a Grip and bought one of his strong arms. I think they also do counseling, don't they? I also had a nice discussion with Adam, who is a rep for DeVilbiss. I've set my eye on one of his products whenever he gets a chance to get back with me. Now, Josh, Brett, and Mike know me from the YouTube channel. Josh left his margarita to come over to speak to me, so I figured it must be important, right? And we appreciated that Don came over to introduce himself. He's a fan of the channel as well. He currently runs a couple of body shops, but since there are no qualified interior repair techs anywhere near his area, he wants to be that guy. And with that attitude, I'm sure he will. Maybe we should have named this segment Meet the Experts. See what I did there? This year at the Mobile Tech Show, I've run into a couple of technicians. This is Mike and Brett, and we're going to take some time to interview them and see what they have to say about the current state of the business. First of all, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started and how long you've been in the business?
I got started this in 1983. There was a guy who had a upholstery business, and he actually we would sew in the vans, had sewing machine in our van, and we'd go out on the lots and sew up seats, and we did vinyl repair and pillow repair and re-dyeing, things like that. And
I guess about 20 years for myself, just working with my dad.
Yeah.
That's the business I've always remembered you doing.
Yeah.
Took got a while too.
Wow. Okay. So, what did you like about the business that you wanted to stay in it for 40 years? What do you enjoy the most doing?
Well, it's always something different. I've been, like I said, doing it 40 years, and weekly we run into things that we've never seen before, and we enjoy a challenge of tackling something that we've never seen or we've never done. And as far as the mobile part, we enjoy working outside when the weather's nice, not so much in the blazing Memphis summers, but when it's nice outside, it's enjoyable to work outside. And
I don't do very well with repetitive jobs, like where you have to just sit and do the same kind of thing, production line or stuff like that. And this job you do something different all the time. So the day goes by pretty fast. And like for my end, I like taking stuff apart and put things together. So we'll do a lot of work for body shops and warranty. They'll have us change the airbag modules or change out the seat covers or the whole seat frame because there's corrosion on it. So it's a several hour job, just tedious and time consuming. And I like about the repair part is that it's kind of like artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Every single job you can take your time and you can do little details and you're getting paid for it. You don't have to just rush it out and get as fast as you can do, but you can take your time, and I really feel like it's like art.
It is
art.
art.
So you sculpt it every little piece at a time, and you get paid for it, for your time, and people appreciate it too.
We had our manager at the Lexus dealer. He came out. He'd come out and watch us. Say, "You guys are artists."
Pretty much everyone says,
Yeah.
"Wow, it's incredible! I didn't know you could do that." Yeah. Every time, all the time.
And it's funny because of the unique perspective I have of doing upholstery and repairs. I'd have dealers that would call me to do upholstery, and then they'd call somebody else to do vinyl repair. They're like, "I do that too." "You do?" And then the other way, we do vinyl repair, and they'd want to send a seat out to it. "Well, I do that too." "You do?" But yeah. So you have to educate them what we do.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't actually realize what we can do.
I used to have sheets printed out listing all the different things. Well, a lot of things you can't list it all because you don't know.
So there's a great sense of fulfillment in that kind of work.
Yeah, there is.
I like the idea of you take something and it's damaged, and you restore it. Either repair it or you restore it, and the satisfaction in seeing something that's a good job, that looks good, and it's It's fixed.
To me, it's a smart business in general because they save money
Yeah.
as opposed to having to just buy it stock new part. You know, if something's messed up, they can either buy a new seat cover or buy a new door panel, or they can save a bunch and get it fixed, and it's just as good.
And right now, because of the supply chain issues, they're running more and more into where they can't even get parts for these cars. And an example is the Kias and the Hyundais are very easy to steal, so they're having rashes across the country. People breaking in, stealing these, and they break the back, usually the back passenger window, which puts glass cuts on the top of the door panel. And so they're already having a supply chain issue, and then because there's such a demand for one body shop alone I went to one day had 22 on the lot.
Hyundais and Kias.
Hyundais and Kias. And we did a door panel, a rear trim panel for a high-end Durango the other day. Broke the window out, and the parts on back order, $1,700 trim panel. So they're very happy for us to repair that for the time factor and saving the money.
Can you think of anything that would have been the major challenge for you, a hurdle to overcome, something difficult maybe?
Well, first learning to sew was like I'd be all day trying to sew a little bolster in a seat, and then see the stitching be off a little bit, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it, or you should anyway. If not, you need to find something else to do. But you know, just
Mixing colors in the beginning, that's very difficult.
for a lot of people, some people never get it, but you got to learn to be able to see and know what's in that color to achieve that color, and some never get it.
Unless you work on just Lexus and Toyota or just one brand, it's unlikely you're going to have just the colors for one whole brand. You're going to have to work on a lot of different colors.
Although in 40 years it's changed a lot, because now the majority stuff is blacks, grays, and tans.
All the blacks are different.
Neutrals, yeah, and they're not all black. The Lexus blacks are bluish black. You spray a regular black on there, it looks brown. And then you run into the sheens of it being flat or shiny or glossy or semi-gloss. So it's you have to do the think about it just before you just dive into it. You know, what does this need, and do the proper prep work. And then many years ago when I started, one of the first seminars I went to, and the guy said, "Come on, there's no excuse for overspray in a car, guys." So we put drop cloths and we tape and we shield and do all that, because you can do a beautiful job and then they pull it off and there's overspray all over the trim, or Lord forbid they get it all over the dash and the instrument cluster or things like that, and they get in like, oh, you know, when we do a job, a repair, and finish it, they want to open the door and like never know anything's been done.
I think ideally we mix the color perfect enough so that you can't tell. You don't have to dye the entire seat.
Right.
You can do just
match the colors, and you know, with most dye, you want to do the minimum that you have to do. You don't want to put on too much.
So some of our viewers might be interested in your thoughts about where are we going to need the most help in the future? What do you see maybe current problems that are needing to be addressed, because that's a current trend off into the future? Anything?
Well, I know that the material they use now is much inferior to what they used to make, and some of it's due to probably the environmental issues, because manufacturing vinyls and plastics, it's a toxic process. So a lot of them are going to what they call the environmentally friendly green materials, and they're just not holding up well in the vehicles. We're seeing armrests, door panels, headrests, the inner parts of seats, where just the body oil and sweat and things is causing it to delaminate, bubble up. Leather's getting stained. We run into, it's been a while, but we'd run into Lexus where we'd see these look like highlighter yellow stains, and it was women using these bronzing stuff, and they get on their legs and their arms, and it'd be on the door panel, the armrest, the seats, and it won't come out. You have to finish over it. And Kool-Aid, you know, you get the red Kool-Aid stains inevitably in a light beige carpet.
I would say because there's some parts that are simply unavailable, aftermarket parts. not aftermarket parts, but you know,
Replacement parts.
replacement parts. Being able to repair it well enough so that insurance will say that's acceptable. So,
So would you say that the demands on the mobile technician are higher now than ever
Oh,
before?
absolutely. You know, especially if you're going to do quality work for high-end cars, or if you're doing work for body shops, that's worse than retail, because these people are already upset that their car's been wrecked or vandalized or stolen or what have you, and they want it perfect.
yeah, has to pass the insurance inspector and the customer too.
And
Yeah.
so you have to be proficient at what you do and professional and do the very best work that you can do. And the other thing we were talking about today too that I wanted to mention was oftentimes we do work and we'll do more. Like we might do something on this seat and we notice there's a spot over there that wasn't figured in the job. Go ahead and do it and just throw it in. You know, and you tell the customer, because I know personally if I get more than what I paid for, it's a lot better feeling than getting not what you expected, and you get your whatever you're doing, and you get it, and you're like, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
They'll probably be more likely to come back again.
Yeah. And we get referrals from people all the time, and like, you're the best in town. I don't claim that, but people say that, you know. And an example, and maybe this is too much, but there's a dealer, upholstery shop in town, and they've been around forever. I've had customers come in and they'd go down there and they literally, the lady had a Lexus and they said, well, it would just be stupid for you to spend money on this car.
They told the customer that.
And she came to us and I said, we can fix that. She was so happy because you treat them with dignity and treat them with respect, you know, like you want to be treated. And I just couldn't believe that people would have that attitude. You know, it's going to cost you $3,500 to fix that seat. It'd be stupid to spend that money on this car. We don't work on many of these anyway. Lexus. We've worked on probably thousands of Lexus. Well, like Brett said, it's a trade that you get satisfaction from doing the work. Now, obviously, like any business, there's times when it's hectic and chaotic and demanding. But you can do that working for somebody somewhere and hate your job, you know. So if you do this for yourself and you're good at it, then you have some control. And there's things I won't do. I won't work on some things. People bring in, want me to do something, like, no, don't do that. Don't work on those. No, thank you.
You don't want to get buried in something you can't get yourself out of.
No, it's, you know, there's certain people, there's lots of niches in the repair and upholstery business, and people find their niche and find what works for them, and that's what you need to go after. But there again, do the best work you can do, get good at the trade, and if you do that, you have nothing to apologize for, and you'll have happy customers, and you'll get repeat business, and you'll get referrals.
I think that's a good point. You don't have to accept all the work that comes at you.
No.
You can, when you see the job and you're originally saying it, you can just say, I'm sorry, that needs to be replaced.
And you have to educate the customers too, because a lot of people have no concept of repairs or upholstery, and they come in, or maybe it's been 20 or 30 years since they had a car seat done, and they're like, you give them a price and they freak out. You know, like, well, you know, you're welcome to shop around. And then sometimes they come back, they're like, can you still do that?
We'll give them the numbers of our competitors. We do.
Yeah.
We refer people all the time. We often remind them how much it costs to get oil changes and tire rotations.
We're not paying 50 cents for gas, a gallon for gas anymore.